Hello, everybody. Welcome to creating your own in-depth learning experience with the last lesson. So I imagine that you may be checking out this video because you want some insider tips about how to create a really good lesson that you can be proud of, that can benefit your classmates, and something that can really show that you are learning geometry in depth. So come with me. All right. So why are we doing this project, first of all? I think it's kind of helpful to think about what I want you to get out of this project. So first thing that I want you to do is kind of be able to think about the key points of the topic. So you choose a topic, kind of an area that we're going to have on the final exam. And if you have a good grasp about the key points of the topic, then you will be all set on that topic and have all the key information at your fingertips. Get you to literally zoom in to Delta math problems, not like zoom. Well, actually, if you're making a YouTube video, you are, but actually look at problems that you've worked on this semester and explain the process in your own way. So essentially, you get to teach your classmates how you were able to do those problems, or maybe future geometry scholars. And then also, I'd want to use these lessons as sort of a vehicle in which you can share your knowledge with your peers, whether you're doing the oral presentation option, or even if you're not, I'll just put it on Google Classroom by topic. So that way, if somebody wanted to kind of study trigonometry before the final exam, they could actually go to the trigonometry presentations and check them out just for a little bit different perspective. All right, so when you're starting a lesson, you want to make sure that you are choosing a task. So the task is like your what. So maybe you chose, the option Consumer's Guide to Solving Right Triangles. So that says compare and contrast the three major methods of solving right triangles: Pythagorean theorem, special right triangles, and SOHCAHTOA. When do you use each method? When are the trig ratios used and inverse trig ratios used? Good textbook sections help provide a roadmap for how to tackle all the problems in Unit 9. So the question that I sometimes get with this project is, what do you do? Where do I begin? Well, the task at hand, if you actually answer all of these questions, I created these tasks kind of with the idea of what it takes to have an in-depth learning experience on that set of skills. And then you also get to choose how. So how is the information going to be delivered? So are you going to do a PowerPoint presentation? So PowerPoints that work well have voiced over feature, or maybe a YouTube that goes along with it, or having some pictures of shown work of some problems that you work on in the presentation. Some people like illustrating it with like pencils and papers and markers. And then there's also the YouTube video option as well. So if you're actually tuning in right now and doing the YouTube video option, I am recording and making this video on Zoom right now using the record feature of Zoom. So all what you have to do is share your screen and talk, and the recording is coming through. All right, so let's start with what doesn't work. What is bad teaching? So some of you may recognize this teacher. This teacher is from the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where he's like monotone and he like says, anyone, anyone, anyone. So, you'll come across as him if you just have a PowerPoint that copies and pastes worked out Delta math problems without any explanation. So literally taking complete solutions on Delta math and copying and pasting. That's not showing me legitimate learning. Listing vocabulary for the sake of listing vocabulary. So what I mean by this is just having a list of definitions, no connections at all. use formula and theorems and not translate them from geometry speak to English speak. So one of the things that makes geometry hard for some people is when you have dense formulas and dense theorems where people struggle to make sense of them. So what your job is to actually do is actually make it into a clear explanation. So why not, describe some geometric vocabulary with pictures? Why not develop the formulas and tell me in the class what each variable means? So these are some things that are what not to do. Now, best practices. This guy is actually a YouTube star. His name is Dr. Edward Berger, and he has math videos. One of his famous math videos is called Calculus in 20 Minutes. And one thing that he does a good job is he actually brings in his own personality. So you are encouraged to do that in this project. And that's actually why I have this final project. I want to give you the opportunity to bring in your personality. Connect skills and concepts together. So the best projects actually make connections. They don't only explain individual skills, but they make connections between skills. Have a structure and organization and have objectives. One of the things that we are evaluated on as teachers, and if you go into teaching, you'll be evaluated on this, is does your lesson have structure and is it centered around an objective? One thing that I like personally as a teacher is even to have checklists. So what are some actionable steps that students can do to show that they have mastered the problem? What are some things that the teacher is looking for as they are grading? And finally, another thing that I really like with these projects is roadmaps. So it's nice after or even before you kind of go through the nitty-gritty of the lesson, just to kind of have an overview of roadmap. And this is actually how you could actually establish connections between skills. So how might you want to structure a lesson organically? My suggestion is to kind of follow this 3-step plus a bonus process. So step 1, develop the vocab, the formulas, and the definitions. So just like when you were writing good notes this year, if you started with like the vocab and the formulas, that's where you need to start. Geometry does not happen unless those vocab and formulas are well developed. Then you can go to like the easy example. So I would maybe do an easy example step by step, maybe talk about connecting it with the vocabulary. And then you may want to try and think about a medium to difficult example for step 3. Also, with a step-by-step explanation. And you may want to think about what makes a medium to difficult example harder than the easier examples. And as a bonus, you want to maybe be thinking about when you're done, why is this skill important and how does it connect to previous skills? So if you answer every question that is set out in the task, you're actually going to have a really good in-depth learning experience. So you should be using things like your notes. You can use Delta math problems. You can go to other sites too, places like Khan Academy. There's a site called Flip Math that I really enjoy. And as always, feel free to ask questions of me, even though I'm going to be out on the A days this week. You are welcome to shoot me an email and we can talk about your project ideas as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing your last lesson next week, which I actually hope it will be the beginning of more lessons in math for you.